Hello and welcome to Caribbean House Talk. I should say season 2 of Caribbean House Talk. And Caribbean House Talk, as always, we aim to bring you issue from funny to curious to tearfully serious. So welcome back viewers and welcome back ladies to season 2 of Caribbean House Talk.
Thank you.
And with us to my far right is the beautiful Hyacinth Harrison from Jamaica, West Indies, originally from Jamaica in the West Indies. And of course are there Amalfi Estevez and are there Elma Weiss and
Hello.
Caroline Mitchell Davis and yours truly, Trish St. Hill. Oh boy, I think we have a lot of good things lined up, ladies, for season 2. Mm-hmm. You know, I think season 1 we were still getting our footing, and you know, with anything, you're trying to make sure that you know you kind of get a sense of what works, what doesn't work. But the season 2, I think we've kind of figured out more or less where we are. We kind of change our set a little bit, and I always like to sprinkle stuff with a little Caribbean flavor. So I got some little flowers and just to give it a Caribbean texture, so to speak. Yeah. All right. So we try to make it as Caribbean as we can. So if we're not there, then at least we can just put little elements of the Caribbean in this whole thing. So what we're going to be doing is the same format we had last year, which is to start off with our spicy dish. And in spicy dish, it's usually a little spicy topics that, you know, we ask people, if you have children right now, we need for those children to leave the room because we may be having a topic that is not appropriate for young children. So we ask children to, if you have small children, let them leave the room because that's the nature of spicy dish. Then we go to the Dear Help Team section of our program, which is more serious topic. It might be something about, might be an illness, it might be about caring for loved ones, might be about leasing a car versus buying a car. More serious topics like that is for the Dear Help Team. The next part is an update, news and update. We're just going to talk about news items that we're following from last season and basically get a sense of where we are now for those items. So ladies, let's roll with our spicy dish. Who wants to pick out our first topic?
I will. Is sex better after 40? Now. Tell me.
Let me say, yes it is. Yes it is. I think it's better after 50 because by then you're menopausal or premenopausal. And the pregnancy thing, for me anyway, I haven't had one of those things in about 10 years. Period, meaning a period. So you don't have to worry about stuff like that, you know? So I absolutely loved it after that. I think that's when I matured sexually, when I really came, well, when I said, you know what, I'm going to make sure that I'm okay with what pleasures me. Yes. And I don't have to worry about getting pregnant. And that was, so to me, it's not only better at 40, it's even better at 50.
Okay. For me, I think it's much, much better because I am so confident about my body. And I don't have any reservations, so I'm just free. And also, I am more expressive. I ask for what I want. And when you do that, you're pleased. And it's a great experience. So I love it. It is very
so you
different.
think it's better?
It's much better. And I think that the guys also, they're more experienced. So they make it more about you than about them. So they take care of you. In my sense, the experiences that I have had.
Okay.
Let me jump in on that because I just want to piggyback on what Amalfi said. I think everything she said is so true because you know what you want, like she said, and you're not afraid to say, this is what I want. Touch me here, touch me there, you know, okay, slow it down, you know, you tell them what you want. And that's a good thing. And I also like what Amalfi just said about with the men, you know, when we're younger, a lot of them are not as experienced. They think they are, and they think they know what they're doing, but they usually don't. Right. So as an older person, you know, you've been in that road for a while, and you know they're, like she said, it's more about, you know, trying to please that woman than trying to rush right through it. You know, so yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're also not preoccupied with it too. It is different. You know, when you're younger, that's the whole world. And when you're older, it's not the entire world. It's a piece of things. You know.
I agree.
everybody just covered everything that I know.
No, she's taking a cop out. She's coming out. You know what I mean? She's coming out. Oh, I'm not coming.
No.
But you
I
agree-
think it's you guys are on the right road right here right now, and it all depends too, and how much you willing to put into what what you're doing, and how much your partner is willing to put into what what you're doing. So, because sometimes you might say, okay, I'm not talking from me now. I'm talking generally speaking here, because honestly, sometimes I have to place tired to get out the shit, and I just cannot handle it sometimes, honestly. But I've heard people say. And I have one friend, one lady I speak to off and on. She lives upstate. And she's telling me, well, we had this conversation not too long ago. Funny that this will come up. She wants to know, how do you do this? How do you handle this? Because I really am not in that kind of thing right now. My mind is not there.
This is your friend saying that.
Yeah. I can't deal with this right now. And this is like a second marriage. So she put a lot of effort into her first marriage, and it really didn't pan out for her the way she expected it to. And now she met this other guy that she got married to like 3 years ago. And
Is he
he's
younger
all
or
over
anything?
her. They're the same age, exactly the same
But it's
age.
new,
like
so they're
one
still
day
frisky.
apart.
Still frisky.
Yeah, and he want to have sex with his wife as often as he can have it. So I said to her, well, maybe he has something that he doesn't want to share with you. Maybe he's dying soon and he want to get as much as he wants.
Oh
That's
my
funny.
God.
That's just, I said that. Honestly, I did say that. But just to lighten things up a little, because she's so depressed, because she think that now he just want to have sex all the time. And
Oh, the woman who wish they had that problem.
And so sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Sometimes for me now, I do play tired sometimes, because
But you're married a long time,
freaking
so
tired.
that
I've been
happens,
married now going on 30 years. So
Irma, can you
You
share?
gotta be careful. Your husband might be watching.
he will be watching. I know that. He will watch
I
them.
know.
And he knows, but not all the time.
Are you able
But
to
I'm
share
good.
if other parts of the relationship is not going well? Why is she feeling this way? Did this change or
I
this
think she's tired, or she just don't want to be bothered as often.
Is that
Okay.
his false marriage?
I don't know. She didn't say.
Because sometimes, like, she's been in a long-term marriage or so.
Yeah.
So she's at that point where, like, let's say I was still with either of my husband. Let's say let's pick the last one. Say I was still with him. Would have been together now about 13, 14 years, close to 15 years. At that point, it is going to slow down, right? But now you have a new marriage. I mean, when we were married 2, 3 years, we couldn't keep our hands off each other because it's new.
Right.
So I think that's what's happening. He probably, this is new
Maybe
for
that's
him.
what- yeah.
And men, that testosterone kicking. Listen, she has a problem that most women wish they had.
Yeah, right. But I love to date. I love to go on dates. I love to go out, do the date thing, go do something, go home and just let it out. That's me. That's my thing.
That's all part
But-
of that sexual experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the build up.
I remember
that's
one
it.
of my ex-husband and I, we used to go out to a club like once a month. We'll have somebody stay with the baby, and we'll go to a club once a month. And we'll watch people up on each other and they whatever, and then we'll go out to eat at a diner, one of those all-night diners, and then we'll come home and get frisky.
Yeah.
And that was our time for
that's-
each other.
yeah,
We
that-
went out and we acted like we were just a couple just dating and hot for each other and all that. And when we came home, we just carried it right home.
That's
What about you, Miss Harrison? You're not getting out of this discussion now.
For me, it's been a while, so I can hardly remember. But no, I think that you get more liberated as a woman when you get past 40. I mean, sex, you have done it all up until 40, so it doesn't matter. It's nice if it's, if you have the right partner. But there's some men who are just impotent and I mean, just can't.
That is true.
I mean, women are always there. They're always ready, which is
That's not true.
That's not true.
I think so. I mean, when I say always ready, in your mind you're ready. It's just that,
Well, you don't have to get. We could
You don't
have
have
it
to
without
get-
getting prepared.
right,
I know
that's
you're
what it
saying.
is.
We don't have to get prepared. We don't have to.
But you can, I mean, I find it very liberating after 40, after 50, reaching 50.
I love it at 50.
Because you can do anything you want to do and don't really care.
I have
You
no
know,
inhibitions.
no
I'm
inhibitions
not
at all,
one, as
you
you
know.
all know. I don't have much inhibitions to begin with.
It's true.
You take it out.
I
You take it in that arena, and I have no inhibitions.
I wasn't a very sexual person.
Oh.
You know, that is one of my hang-ups, you know. I mean, I prefer to go on the street and just have a good time.
Mhm.
Just enjoy myself, but I didn't care whether it was there or not after 50. It didn't matter,
Mhm.
you know, so
But you've been in your marriage how many years?
it's about, this one is 7 years.
Okay.
The first one was 17.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. My first one was 16, and the last one was 10.
Yeah.
So, but at this stage, you know, listen. In the first one, you'll find out what I did in the first one and what I did in the second one was two different things because I was older, and I'll be damned if I was going to. Well, we'll talk about that in another show coming
But
up. But
I had a friend who, she got to 54, 55, and she said, "Look, you don't really need him. You just need to go get a vibrator."
and I don't
And that's what she
I don't
did.
even need that.
You know, she said,
Okay.
I don't need that.
That's
If you
what
get my
I'm saying. You know, it's all in the mind.
Yeah, but some people that like their
Some
toys,
people
I've
have
said
to-
before,
Have to.
I think I
have
think I'm
that.
a freak, but I believe it. I don't necessarily need toys. I don't put people down who need them.
Right.
I'm
right.
just saying I don't need toys.
Yeah, most
But
people go.
You can use your imagination.
There's more.
Right.
There's more to sex than a vibrator.
Mm-hmm.
I think so
I need
too.
that human touch.
Mhm.
I need that connection.
And
You
then
can get human touch. You're human touch.
No,
You can't help the
It has
vibrator.
She
has
wants
to
a
come
touch of some
I want
of
the touch
a male.
of a male. I
Okay.
want the connection of a male.
Mhm.
I want to hear his voice. It's more to sex than a toy.
It's a mental thing for you more than
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It is a connection.
Mental.
Mental.
Yeah.
Hot topic.
Dear. Well, I will pick the next spicy dish item. Let me do the Caroline thing. Ooh.
Oh.
Would you date an impotent man?
No.
No, no.
I may be old, but I ain't cold.
No.
Nice one. I like that.
Listen, if I am with a male and we had our life together, we have memories, and then it coming down in age where maybe illness,
Yeah.
maybe he's older, it doesn't matter that case. But for me,
To go out and
Trish,
date.
to go to pick up some man with that issue, first of all, they're the men that will play the most head games with you because of their insecurity because of that issue.
What
So it's
about-
one thing to be with someone and they're impotent. I ain't taking up some guy
No.
who can't
I agree with that.
funds that up for me.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? I may be old, honey, like I said, but I'm not cold.
They're not going to
So-
tell you right away.
What
I mean,
happened
you're
if
not
he
going to
had
meet
a lot
them.
of money?
Yeah. She says if he had a lot of money.
Suppose he had a lot of money.
Oh,
Suppose he had a lot of He could take you all over the world, do all the things.
you
that-
want to know the truth,
that
though? You know another truth? I still don't know that I'll do it because, like I said, I know of people with that issue. And when you're not coming from a place of, let me be a little serious here, to joke around too much sometimes with these things. People that are coming from a place of, we've been together and then something is going on. There's a health issue. Medication might be rendering them impotent. That's different. When you have a man who
Yes.
has that problem and he's trying to start a relationship, it's all kind of insecurity. Now, money don't buy happiness. You know what I mean? I really couldn't see myself. Maybe ask me this 10 years from now and it wouldn't matter. Maybe all I need is somebody to hold my hand. I need more than to hold hand right now. You know what I mean? So to me, it will matter. I don't care what kind of money you have, you know, because that's not going to light my fire.
Well, for the person who just need a whole hand, this is the perfect thing.
That would be,
The
yes.
whole
It
Yeah,
would be the
yeah.
perfect thing because I know if I'm at that stage and I wouldn't do it now in my time right here, but if I'm at the age where I need somebody to be there with me, you don't even have to have something.
Mm-hmm.
Just for friendship, just for companionship, that's fine.
You're right.
We could go separate ways off and on, but I don't care, I don't mind. But I wouldn't do it in my right mind though.
Mm-hmm.
No. No, I
Right.
would not.
So
No.
let me ask though.
It's
Isn't-
an age thing sometimes.
Isn't
Depends on the age.
doesn't Viagra also help with that? Or is it just for
I
to
don't.
make things long lasting? But shouldn't it also help give you a lift in?
Well, that's
Yeah.
true. There are certain things out there that uh might be able to help. So yeah,
a lot
we-
of things to help.
you
but
you
I
mentioned about the money. I wouldn't care about the money. 'Cause I'm telling you the truth. I don't care what kind of money you have. I have to look at you, okay? Look at you and try to take my mind to go there with you. If I look at a man and I say, I'm not saying the first time that I look at a man, I'm thinking, what would he be like in bed? But yeah, at some point when we're talking and I'm starting to feel you a little bit and you look like you starting to feel,
Human.
I'm gonna look at you and think to myself, wonder how he is. You know, if I can't do that and I'm saying, hell no, I'm gonna let him kiss me up, then I'm not doing it. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't think the money part, but I think, yeah, there are, Caroline, you were saying there are things that people can use.
And that's when toys can get involved, and that's when you're more creative, I guess. You know, with the hands and the mouth and everything else. So, who knows?
So show me what you got, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Show me what
You
you
better be able
got.
to do something because
We can't do
nobody is
that.
gonna want to have to not have sex forever.
Right.
Come on,
Unless you're really
gonna
old
want
person sick
something.
or something, yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, you know, this is why I love these discussions. Because here I am, I'm saying, hell no. If I may be old, but I ain't cold. But when you bring that in, that is true. There are things that a man could use. And there are times, and it depends on the age factor too. There are times when you're just going to get to a place where you just want somebody for the companionship. You're not necessarily looking for somebody to be jumping your bones. Maybe the last thing you want is for that man to jump your bones.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think everything is never black and white.
Yeah.
It's
But it all
gray.
depends. It all depends on what stage you are in your life at the moment when that comes along. Because if that have to come along to me now, I would run so fast that I don't think you can catch up with me. But later on, maybe 20 years later,
It doesn't
if
matter.
it comes, I'll welcome that because maybe at that point all you need is somebody to be just there with you, or just for companionship and not necessarily to have sex with you. Because 20 years from now, I don't want that. I don't want to have sex with nobody 20
Heck,
years
I don't know if
from
I
now.
want it 10 years from now. But you know, the thing is that I think, so let me modify what I said earlier because I think you just brought up something. If I met someone and they have that problem, I think for me that I would want to, I don't want you to play games with me because that's what I'd be afraid of. A lot of them play games with you and you don't know what it's about until after you get there. And either wee is too little or it's not working right. Okay. So, I want to know that stuff up front. And then I want to know, you know, what is your imagination like? Because I could get crazy. So I want to know how much of a freak you are in terms of, oh shit. I mean, yeah. I want to know what other things you can do besides the boom boom.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like you can't just be somebody who fixated on that and the you know
Hit
the
it and
social
quit it.
thing. Hit it and quit it. You have to if you're somebody, but if you're somebody where listen, you can
You want
use
it
other
all-
parts of the body and
all
you
around.
can, yes, and you can stimulate me and talk to me a certain
Yeah.
way and oh,
For me, it's not a deal breaker.
I'm gonna have to
All right, I'm off.
I will definitely, it's not a deal breaker. I would definitely date a person who's
at 40.
at 40. And this is why I think that when you don't have that component of sex, you really get to know the person very well.
Well, that's why you don't have sex with them right away.
Yes, well, you get even
But
with
once
that,
you start to,
once you start, like Caroline said, there's other avenues that you can use to get satisfied. So let's say, for example, that I'm looking for 5 things in a man, and he has those 5 things, and then his thing is not functioning. I will go for him. I will definitely go. Let's say, for example, that he needs to be emotionally available, and he is. And he has
Good
money.
provider.
Yes, good provider. He respects
Affectionate.
me. He supports me in my career or anything that I'm doing, and he knows how to work it.
And
they're walking.
No, he knows how to work it. It doesn't have to be.
Okay.
You don't have to use that part. You can become creative.
You know, you need
So-
to know how to walk other
Yes,
stuff.
all the
Okay.
tasks. He's a good dancer. To me, dancing is like having sex. So
It is.
yes, it
It
is.
is.
It is. For me,
Just
it's
not
just
the penetration,
you know,
but it is.
yeah, you know. So that it wouldn't be a deal breaker, but he will need to have all the other things that I want for us to be happy.
Still no.
Yeah,
Not doing
I
it.
will go. I
Not
will
a
go.
40. Hell.
I'm modifying mine a little bit to say it depends. It depends. Like it depends. Like you're saying, if
I'm
he has
still-
all the
I'm
qualities,
qualities.
but that's one thing he doesn't have. But he's able to take me where I need to go another way. What about you, Miss Harrison?
There's no perfect situation, so I can't comment anymore on that. So,
Oh my gosh!
I'm sticking to no. No. It's not happening.
It's a deal breaker.
It is a deal
I
breaker.
ain't have that. I ain't even going nowhere.
Bring me back to the size matter discussion that we had.
Oh,
and she
yes,
said
it is.
it hinges. It's the glue on which everything is hinged.
It is.
Oh, you gotta
no.
love her. You gotta love her.
I can give up some things, but I need
That's
that
one of your
little hard-on.
priorities.
Yeah.
That's one
Yeah, I
of your
need that.
main.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I need
There's
that.
And you know, really and truly is really what people really like or what they want. You can't. You have to be true to yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's some people who have no real, their libido is really low, and it may not even be an issue because they don't even want you touching them. They just want you to hold them and talk sweet to them and
Oh
whatever.
Lord.
And that's fine. For me, I want that, but I still want some.
I could do without the hold and the talk. That's
Oh
bang
no,
it
I
out.
have to get it in with that.
The hold and the talk.
Hmm
Oh God.
I have to get that with
To
it.
me,
Like,
that's
especially
that's messing with my-
afterwards. No, especially afterwards. You know, like afterwards, I used to love, but then again, most men fall asleep
No,
afterwards.
I want
They
to
do.
sleep. I'm one of those. I go straight to sleep.
but
That's
I like
fine.
romance, you know, like
Right.
leading up. I like
That's what I
romance,
do on
you
my
know.
date, though.
You know,
We
not
date, we go
necessarily. You can
out.
have it at home.
I'm not doing that
You
shit.
have a
home.
nice
No,
drink. You play the music. You have to have things that, you know.
I guess
it's
I'm
not
just like my
thing about
papa.
one bam, slam,
Yeah,
bam, thank you,
because
ma'am.
to me,
You
you know,
know,
that's
it's just-
over in 5 minutes.
Right.
The other
Right.
things, yes. in
Yeah,
five- I'm not
yes.
saying that the person is
Yeah,
gonna last 5
exactly,
minutes. I'm
yeah.
not giving, you know, I'm not
No,
putting
you want more.
any man down. But that 15 minutes compared to what he can give you in a lifetime, like for me, being faithful, being taking care of me, listening to me, that to me is much more important.
Well,
I
that's a
think that's
given.
important.
I think that's a given. That comes naturally.
Yeah.
If you're a husband or a boyfriend in a relationship, that comes naturally. But I'm talking about the part where you having sex. For me personally, I would like rather to cut out the talk part and the hug part. No, I don't want that. I'm being honest with
No,
you.
no,
that's
don't
fine.
think of it
I don't
as-
want that. Let's get it over it. Get it
But I
done.
think that's
I'm
an
going to-
important component.
Not for me.
I think it
Oh,
is.
she's a
I
male
don't-
way of thinking. Like males
I
are
don't-
usually
Yeah, that's
like,
like
Yeah.
men think just
Like
like
that.
that.
Yeah,
They just
man, go
get
girl,
to it,
you
and
take it
that's
back.
you know. I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong.
There's
It's
nothing-
everybody's
Everybody,
that's
that's
all.
right.
And most of them will fall asleep on you afterwards
Yes.
anyway.
Yes.
And the truth of the matter is
I'm the one
that
that
people
fall
get
asleep.
upset and say, oh my God, he fall asleep right after. And people need to recognize that there's a reason that a male fall asleep afterwards
Yeah.
because his
Yes.
body's been depleted.
It has
And
been.
it really drains him. So he needs to recover a little bit.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So most of them don't really care. I mean, you could just see the poor guy sitting there struggling, trying to have a conversation because he knew that's what you want. With you won't have a problem.
No, I don't
Let's
want
do
no
it and get it
conversation.
over with.
Yes,
Mhm.
but it's not a rush to do it. Now,
Mhm.
don't get me wrong. Keep your mouth shut, but take your time and
Mhm.
we do what we're doing and it's done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So
Don't
there's no
expect me to-
conversation
No.
at all?
No,
Oh,
no.
Not even a little
Leave me
dirty
alone.
talk?
No, leave me alone. I want to sleep.
You gotta-
I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
but
done.
you're
Okay.
you're
Okay.
also talking to someone who's been married 30 years.
Exactly.
It's a
course.
little
I
bit
don't have time
different,
for
you
talk.
know.
And it doesn't.
It's a little different, I think.
Right, and this hasn't just been happening forever. This just started within the last 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
You know?
at one point
But
you did
before,
want.
oh yeah,
Oh,
before
okay. Okay.
it was different.
Mm-hmm.
But as you get older and you have the same partner for so
That's
long,
true. That's true.
you can't just
That's a
lie down
component,
and talk all the
component.
night and no. We don't have time for that now. Let's do what we have to do. And I'm
You
going
do
to
have time. Or,
No, I don't. I want to sleep.
No, she just
And
wants
then
to sleep.
I work very hard too. And my head is not there. My head is on its own machine
you
a
have
lot
to
of times.
designate a day.
3 days.
Yeah.
3 freaking days a
That's
week.
a lot. For
Yes.
So
What am I talking about?
We know about designation.
You know what?
don't we?
She's getting it on the regular.
He only on the clock. I'm on the clock. I don't know what's going on.
Now I
3
understand why
days.
you're like,
What am I going to
Let
talk
it go.
about? Now tell me, what should I talk about? There's nothing to talk about.
Your
Let's do
situation,
it and
your
get it over
situation
with.
is understandable. You've been married for a long time, and like you
Yeah.
said, but she's getting it often. Like, if I got it once a week, once a month, hell yeah, you gonna talk to me. You gonna talk dirty to me. You gonna
Yes.
turn me on. You gonna
Yeah.
let me stand on my head, whatever. But I'm they're crazy here. But you got, and then you got to hold me afterwards and talk gentle and sweet to me. But because I'm only getting once a month or once a week, but she married 30-something years, and she's
Thursdays, huh?
getting her freak on regularly.
You didn't know.
okay.
She got a regular oil change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And if you miss it, they have to make it up.
Oh, yeah. No, I would.
No, he's ridiculous sometimes when it comes to that. And he
Leave
keep
the man alone.
and he makes sure remind you like midday during the day.
Ooh.
I've
That's
been
good.
there.
All right.
I've been there.
Yeah.
And he's reminding her Thursday. Thursday. I said, let me leave now.
That's good.
That is so sweet, though.
No, that's
That
good.
is so sweet. That is so sweet.
He's
That
a
is
mess.
sweet.
He's a
Yeah.
total mess.
A
But-
good mess. A good
But
mess.
the
That's
heck.
a
Well, you
good
know.
mess.
I love my cousin-in-law.
That's
Oh
why-
my
that's-
God, that is so sweet.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, what am I talking about? There's nothing to talk about. Let's just do it, get over it, and go away. Yeah.
All right.
But they know when that happens, he will do anything for me.
Mhm.
Anything.
What
No,
about
but
when it doesn't
regardless-
happen?
But regardless,
What about when it
I
doesn't
can send him
happen?
to the end of the. Oh, you want
You
to
in
know?
a bad mood?
Why do I have to go there? Why do I do it? What am I doing this for? Oh, what are you gonna do?
So you basically
Yeah.
have to keep it. You have basically have what it takes to. Basically that's what worked for you guys. Where this is a need that he has, and he try to make sure keep it on schedule. And once you do that, he's happy.
Yeah, very
Okay.
happy.
And he
Very happy.
provides.
Okay.
Yes. But at the same time too, I mean, whether or not he have it, he can still do what he have to do. You know, because he's the
Well,
one.
he's a
he
good
had-
man. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really a gem.
Yeah.
I honestly to God, I lucked out on that one.
Yeah.
No two ways about it.
Mhm.
But he's always there for me, always in my corner, no matter what.
Mhm.
He will do anything. I could send him anywhere, and he will go.
Mhm.
If I have to send him to the city to pick up one little thing, he's ready to go.
Mhm.
If it's one thing with him, he don't tell me no.
Mhm.
And many times I can't. I don't overdo it because I know. And if he say can't go, he really can't go in through that.
Mhm.
So I respect that, and I think what kept us together is that for so long with the kind of relationship we have, is that we accept each other for who we are.
Mhm.
I take him as he is, he take me as I am. I have my ways,
Mhm.
and he have his ways, and we understand each other's ways, and we learn
Right.
each other. This ain't just happen, you know.
Mhm.
We've been learning each other, and we're still learning stuff about each other, because sometimes I get in such a mood that he doesn't even know that I have, and you're gonna say, well, where is that coming from?
Mhm.
Oh, let me leave you alone, because today, like, you know,
Mhm.
you're in a different space today, and he will walk away because you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
how-
So
you know.
it is
That's just
different.
so-
It is very different when
He is.
you're married than dating.
Mhm.
So we can kind of go all over the place with this topic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All
We
right.
better move on.
Okay,
Yes,
let's move on.
move
Yeah.
on.
So,
Moving on.
Okay. Have you ever faked an orgasm?
I have faked many an orgasm. I'm not gonna lie. Let me tell you something. And again, it comes back to age thing. When I was younger, I want to be careful what I say because I'm not here to humiliate anyone. But when I was younger, I spent quite a number of years in a relationship where I faked it for years. Well, hear me out here. And the woman you see today is not that woman that was then. And perhaps that's why I'm this way, where I'm going to tell you what I want, honey. I'm gonna tell you what to touch me. I'm gonna tell you what I don't like. That's too fast. That's too slow. That's whatever. But for years, I was in that relationship and I faked it every single damn time. He was having a good old time. He didn't even notice.
Well, see, you know what?
And after I got out from that and it didn't work out, and when I got out from that, I said, I'll be damned if I'm ever going to be in a relationship where I'm not being satisfied and I'm faking it to make some man feel better. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So me now, I'm gonna control my end of things how you please me. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, I fake many, but I tell people, don't do that.
Well,
Don't
you
put
know
yourself
what?
through that. It's a frustrating thing.
I don't think I've had to fake anything in my marriage, because my thing is, if you're done and I'm not satisfied, you rest a few minutes and then you're going to satisfy me. So
Good.
that's my point. You know, I'm going to leave satisfied. Period.
Right.
So rest up. Let's get going on and
Get going again. Rip it up.
My turn.
Well, I never have to fake anything. I don't think I had time to fake anything.
You're 3 times a week after 30
Yeah.
years. You don't have nothing to fake.
Well, you may have.
Oh my God.
It's 3 times a week.
Again, that question is not for me. Again, I don't have. I
What
don't
about
have.
you, Amalfi?
No,
we
I
want
wouldn't
honesty.
fake
You've
nothing.
never faked?
I've never faked because most of the and it hasn't been a lot of the people that I have been with, and I was married for 17 years, and then I had my high school sweetheart and someone else after. I have such a good chemistry with these people that even looking at them, they turn me on. So that's one of my priority when I'm looking for a partner, and I look at them. That guy has to turn me on. If I even see a little glimpse, and I have had people that have approached me for dating, and I don't feel that way about them, and I don't even take the second step. Because I want to be able to, that when I see that guy, I'm like, oh, my
That's
entire
yours.
body.
Yeah.
And even with my ex-husband, after 12, 13 years, I was still having that connection with him. That when I saw him, my entire body, when we were ready to have sex, my entire body just turned to him, and I was ready. You know, we got divorced for different things. It wasn't about sex. It was for sex.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah.
So you never had. You never
No, I
faked.
never had to. But I haven't had.
What about you,
another
Miss
sex.
Harrison?
I have faked thousands of.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I mean,
But
I'm
you
just
know
being
what?
honest.
Maturity has a lot to do
Oh,
with
I'm
it.
telling you, because now,
A whole
no,
lot
honey,
to do with it.
I'm not faking
I know
nothing.
somebody is going to look at me and say, you've been deceitful.
That's
But
okay.
I have, and I won't lie.
Mhm.
And, you know, I mean, I can't go into
The
the
details,
details, but I
I
had,
had faked many
and it has a lot to do with maturity.
in my younger years.
Yes. it
What
has
do
a
you
lot
mean
to
by
do.
that, Miss Harris?
Maturity?
Maturity, yes.
Well,
How?
I mean, that was when I, you know, was married for a long time and young, you know, and
Raising kids, you're tired, you're walking.
there was a time when I didn't even know what an orgasm was, or, you know, I mean,
I taught myself
you,
how to get
you
one.
had to grow yourself, grow into that.
You never used to read Mills and
Mentally.
Boone?
Huh?
You never used to read Mills and Boone?
You didn't get but that much
Wait,
of
what?
Mills and Boone. That's a
Yeah,
novel, Brandon
what she
novel.
said.
Mills and Boone. It's a series, a novel. But I didn't find that they had that kind of information. With me, you know, I'm not going to. It was the age that I was at,
That's what I'm
and
saying.
I felt that if I
age.
told him that I'm not really feeling nothing, hon, that he might be embarrassed. You know, we were young kids practically. So I felt, okay, just moan and groan and huff and puff and act like I'm having a good old time. Meantime, I'm not feeling a damn thing. I taught myself what an orgasm was.
Yeah.
I gave myself one to feel what it felt like. And then after I did that, I said, okay, now I know what I want.
Right.
No, that relationship didn't work out. But after that, it was like, I'm going to tell you exactly what I want. Where I
That's
want
the
you to
point.
touch me, what I want you to do to me.
That's
If
the
it's
point.
do it this way, don't do that. I don't like that. Do this, do that. I'm going to guide, because I think sometimes too, a lot of us women, we're not doing that man a service. You know, I was young and foolish, but you're
Right.
doing that man a
Yeah.
disservice. Let's be honest with men. If you're sitting up there acting like you are having a good old time and faking stuff, how are you blaming that on that man? You didn't give him a chance to perfect his skill. He's not a part of your body. He's not inside of your body. He's not feeling what you're feeling. You need to guide and direct him what you're feeling. And then he could be a better lover to your liking. But when you're sitting up there moaning, I want to get ridiculous here. Moaning and groaning and carrying on like you're having a good old time, he think he's doing a wonderful job. And then later on you say, well, I've never had one with you. But that's not his fault. You deceived him. You didn't direct him. We need to teach our men how to take care of us.
Yeah, most men, I think,
sexually.
I think that they want to hear. You tell them. Some don't know how to ask, but I think most men would love to hear if you're feeling good, what is going on, and if your body is responding. But some women, we just shut up too, we don't say a word. So it's all in the mind. It's has to do with maturity.
It has to do with maturity. And again, like I said, let's not put the blame on them, because it's like if they can't please you, if you're not giving them a chance to please you. If you're acting like everything is fine and you're moaning, groaning, and carrying on, he's thinking he's doing a good old time. He's banging away. He thinks, okay, this is going good. And meantime, you're going to see later on. So I don't put that responsibility on that man. I'm the one who sat there for all those years and faked my way through it. With relationships after that, I was raw about what I wanted. I was bold about what I wanted. And if I want you to talk to me dirty, I'm going to tell you, talk to me dirty. If I want you to touch me here, don't touch me there, I'd let you know. And in the end, I was a more satisfied person. You know what I mean? So I think we need to put that blame where it is. All right. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to go into our Their Help Team segment of the program. So we will be right back. I'm Trish.
I'm Mountain.
I'm Irma.
And I'm Caroline.
And we are the Caribbean House Talk. Welcome back to Caribbean House Talk. And we are now at that portion of our of the show where we do our Their Help Team segment. And as we say in Caribbean House Talk, we go from the funny to the curious to the tearfully serious. I think this one is tearfully serious. We want to talk about the topic of molestation. So Their Help Team. Your mother, we're both mothering young boys. How do you protect your children against molestation?
My daughters are, they're in their 20s now, but I made sure from the time that they were very young that we had a conversation. I think that's the most important part. You start young so that you can build the trust with them, and you tell them, you have to tell them, you talk to me. You can talk to me about anything. If anyone ever touches you, even if they say don't tell, I don't care if it's a relative or whoever it may be, you always can come to me and talk to me. Don't ever be afraid. I think that's the main thing, having that conversation when they're young, and you continue it throughout their life to let them know that you can always speak. Don't let anyone make you scared. You can't hide your kids. You can't be with them 24/7. They come home from school many times. You're not there. You're working. So again, dialogue. Teach them safety measures to be careful, things to look out for. I don't know.
I think one of the things that people must know too is a lot of time we're teaching our children to be careful of the big bad molester outside. And we, instead of just teach them in general, good touch, bad touch. You're a certain age. When my son was a certain age, I bathed him. He would come cuddle up in my room with me. when he got to be a certain age, that was not appropriate anymore. And once he got to a certain stage, it was understood that nobody should be cleaning you, so therefore nobody has a right to touch your private part. We taught him how to clean himself, how to, make sure of that. When he got to a certain age, I could scrub your back and all of that. When he was I would say like 5'6", I could scrub your back, make sure them knees are scrubbed and all of that. But we're not going to be cleaning that area and touching parts, doesn't mean I can't be affectionate with my child, but I taught him that certain things were not appropriate at some point. And so what I told my son was not just people out there, but basically nobody.
That's right.
When I raised my daughter, who was 19 years his senior, I remember one of her uncle, when he came to visit, he would like put her on his lap as a baby. Nothing. He's not a very decent gentleman. And I would tell my ex-husband, I don't want him doing that. Not because of anything I think he would do. I never looked at him as somebody would do that.
Exactly.
But I don't want her to get comfortable to climb in anyone's lap except her grandfather and her father. Because I knew those two men. Whatever me and my ex-husband, whatever our problems were, I never looked at him. I knew him not to be someone who would ever do something to a child. And if you're with a child molester as your child's father, that's a whole problem. So except for those two men. So I didn't want to get comfortable. I just climbed up on anybody's lap. So little things like that, and that people should not be touching their body. Also the fact of the fear factor. That sometimes how people are able to molest some of these children is to make them feel scared. Something is going to happen to you if they talk to their mother or somebody they know that they love. They could be bribing. But I want to say also, with especially younger women, your teenage, young 20-something-year-old mothers, stop leaving your boyfriends to watch your children. You're dating some man and you gone to work and leave your little. I have somebody that I know who have beautiful granddaughter, and the daughter, and the mother of the child is leaving this man to babysit this child while she goes out to work at night. God knows the story that child will tell you years to come. Because most of these things, it's not that you're saying parent can't do it, but most of these molestations come from people who are not the biological parent. And these young girls, they're so naive. When they're in love with a man, they just trust them with their children. You see my daughter? When it comes to her son, and that's why I always give them that support, that she never feels she have to compromise him. That, man, you ain't trying to leave my grandchild with just anybody, right? And one thing with her, she don't bring people around her child. Okay, she got to be going to you for a little while. And even if she was ever crazy enough to do it, this grandmama is not letting nobody go near my grandboo that I don't know it. So I said to you young girls out there, when you have your boyfriends, you don't know these men. Don't go trusting them with your children like that. Know the man for a while. Know something about him. Listen, man, with the world that we have today, run a background check on this guy. Make sure he is somebody
very easy.
Listen, you can get that stuff online very easy.
Yeah.
Run your background check. Don't leave your children. Because when they damage these children by molesting them, they have a lifetime of fighting that. They have addiction problem, this problem, that problem. And we don't know. I know somebody who got molested by a family member. And this person's messed up. And everybody's criticizing. And nobody's facing the fact that she is killing herself inside based on what happened to her, and she never dealt with it. It finally came out what had happened, but everybody criticized her, and now what caused her to be destroying herself that way? Because it was too much, I guess, for her to bear. Okay, so if you are somebody with, I'm gonna let you ladies chime in, but if you're somebody with children, use your common sense. Do not just let people you don't know or people you're dating have access to your children. That is foolish. Okay, no man who is not your daughter's father has no business wiping her, okay, cleaning her up, even if she's a baby. Why would you want a man who's not your child's father wiping there?
Well,
Even the boys, you have to be careful.
Let me say something, because I know everybody wants to speak on this topic. But one of the things when it comes to young kids, you have to teach them real names. Like I know growing up in my family, and especially like most of us, our parents didn't have much conversation with us. And I know my mom, they use cute words, you know, your poom poom and this and that. I don't know if anybody ever heard that one. That's my mom, you know.
Caribbean, we know what that means.
Yeah, Caribbean family, yeah. So you have to teach real things. With my daughters, I made sure you knew a male has a penis and a female has a vagina, because it's very important that they know that, because somebody else, if your child is being molested, a young kid, and they'll say, poom poom, you might poom poom, nobody's going to know what you're talking about. You have to teach them real words so that they will be able to speak real talk when certain things happen. That's very important.
That's
you
true.
know?
That's true. That is so true.
And I was very lucky because when my son turned 7 or 8, I have a really good friend that I met recently, and she gave me a book about boys' body parts. And that book has helped us. We sit down and we read that book, and my son knows the different part, like Caroline said, the different parts of the body. He's also learning what to expect from his body at when he's turning 9 or 10, that he's going to get different things. But I think that molestation is a very, very important topic that we need to take into consideration, and we need to take it as seriously as buying a book, sitting down with them, telling them what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. And the sad thing is that most of the molestation happens within the household that you live in. You don't have to go anywhere. Nobody has to come into your home. There's either an uncle or a friend that your parents trust, that is
A
really,
neighbor.
and that is really, that they are really not to be trusted. So you really have to teach your children how to protect themselves and be able to communicate with you if something out of place happens. And how would they know if it's out of place? Because you have taught them, this is what you need to look for. This is what is going to feel. Nobody has a right to touch your private parts. And you have to educate them. And I think that we don't take it as seriously as we should.
Okay. I agree.
I think I would piggyback on what you said, but there's another side to that story. The young girls, the way they dress, that creates molestation. From
These are getting older, because a child could dress, a child could wear anything and open it and say, "Come take." If you're a grown man, you should know not to molest that child.
I'm talking about
so you're probably talking like teenagers.
Teenagers, and a lot of that creates the molestation too.
I don't agree with that.
Even in our households, yes. In America, I know.
No, I don't think that creates molestation.
I
think if you are a pedophile, and some young girl dresses like that, in your sick little mind, you will start to conjure up reasons that you must molest her and justify how you must molest her. I respect your position, but I think a lot of people, my generation and older, was of that opinion. I think if that young girl screams, "Come and take it," and she's underage, you don't take it if you're a man. If you touch that young girl or rape her or molest her in any kind of way, you are sick. Oh, don't even get me started with this one. It has nothing to do with that girl dress. Sexual assault has nothing to do with how a person dresses. Because there are a lot of decent men that they will look at that young girl and they'll be like, I must talk to her mother. Don't let her put that on. That's what a decent man does. He doesn't justify in his mind how much it justifies him molesting her. He says, Mom, don't let her wear stuff like that. That could give people the wrong impression. That's what a decent man does. A sicko is going to go take it another place. And, man, she must want it because this and that. And, oh, she said no. She really mean yes. No.
But I think that, even if he's a pedophile, that sort of pushes the buttons.
But you need to go get help for your disease, not because a lot of things going to push your buttons. If you're a pedophile, if you have that kind of problem,
right?
A lot of things gonna push your buttons.
We don't know who are pedophiles.
So am I supposed to change my whole lifestyle so that a pedophile doesn't molest? They're gonna molest.
I don't know.
And they will tell you. These pedophiles who are honest will tell you that even after they're getting treatment no matter what they do, and what that you do, if given the chance, they would molest.
That's what I'm saying.
And I honestly don't believe it has anything to do with what you wear,
Mm-hmm.
a pedophile or somebody who molests you. Because then if you take it the opposite way and look at boys, how many boys out there who have been molested? They're not out there showing anything or got things hanging out for somebody to look at. They're wearing no regular clothing. It's just people who are just sick. It has nothing to do with what the person wears.
Because again, a person who's a decent person is going to be a little bit reviled, or not so much reviled by it, but would say, I'm gonna need to talk to her. Let's have it dressed. That's what a concerned male would do, a mature male. But I think pedophiles are just there's a illness there, and they have justifications for why they're doing that whole sick thing. And so for us, we just have to educate our children. We have to let them know, not just if this person touches, but nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to touch. I mean. And I'm very serious. I mean, I think you guys could see I'm very passionate about this because I, as a mother who is, I'm not a young mother, but I have a young son. There's just certain things I tell people I would not bring. I don't bring males, people around my children like that. If I'm dating you after a certain amount of time, then yes, you can be introduced to them. Mm-hmm. But you will not. My son is older now; he's a teenager now. Mm-hmm. But let's say I had separated from his dad when he was really little. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even want to bring a male. My daughter, when I broke up with her father, I didn't marry my second husband until she was about to go to college. Because I just never trusted a male that's not her dad around her. So I felt at that age, at least she was older and, I'm not saying that everybody should do that. I'm saying for me, from so many things that I know, that I've been privy to, I just know that you have to be so careful to put a young girl in front of a man who has a problem like that. And you don't sometimes know until it happened. And honey, if anybody touched my child or my children like that, my heart is already in hell. I'm telling you. If you touch my child or any kind of inappropriate touching, okay. But anyway.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're gonna go now to our news and update segment. I'm Trish.
I'm Mousy.
I'm Irma.
And I'm Caroline.
And we are the Caribbean House Talk. Okay, so welcome back to Caribbean House Talk, and at this time we're going to be going to some news and updates. I want to bring you guys updated on some stories that we were following. One of them was about Paul Scrub. He's a Vincentian singer living here in the United States. He was arrested while in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Actually, he went there on vacation, spent 5 weeks. Nobody arrested him, but as he was getting ready to leave, he was prevented from boarding his plane. He was arrested, kept in jail, I think either the weekend or overnight. His travel documents were seized. He was literally held like a prisoner of sorts on that island while awaiting the trial. Then they allowed him to leave, and he went back in January for the hearing, and he was thrown out. So this man, when he came back, he had to start from scratch in his job. He had to, endure the expense, and many people feel that this is unjust because he is alleged to have threatened the lives or made some threat against the Prime Minister and his family. He said that it was not him, that his account was hacked, and it was done in a way that to set him up so that they would have a justification. And I think most people find it a little hard to believe that something was not wrong or twisted there, in the sense that when he entered the country, if you made a threat against me that you're going to kill me, now you come into my territory, I'm going to let you walk around for 5 weeks and do nothing, but as you are leaving, I'm going to arrest you? Isn't that like a burglar coming into your house? You do nothing, you see him, and if I look at my camera, and I see you as a burglar outside, my thing is to grab my gun and try to do whatever to stop you.
Away, right.
I'm not, if you come into my house, however, and you realize I'm in here and you didn't know I was in here, maybe you just want to grab something, you're running, why am I trying to kill you then? You're running. Yeah? So I think this is how a lot of people found that to be strange, is that he was allowed to move over around there 5 weeks, and as he's leaving. So the charges have been dropped against Paul Scruggs, also known as IMAD, and he is supposed to be doing an interview with us and so for scrutiny coming up sometime soon. So that's the update on that one. I also had an update with Lizette King. Lizette King is an activist that has been in the island of St. Vincent. She has been protesting the general elections in 2015 there. And the reason she's been protesting it is that she said the elections were not free and fair. She felt that they were fraud. And the opposition, NDP, New Democratic Party, has filed a petition in the courts against the ULP, which is the leading party, the Unity Labour Party, headed by Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. And so that petition was thrown out in St. Vincent, has been then taken to the appellate court, and just last week they had a victory of sorts in that it was upheld. They put it back into the system, and it's now they're going to go forward, and we'll see what becomes of that. So Lizette King has been protesting that, and she's been held up in front of the electoral office in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and she vows never to leave the island until this situation has been rectified. When I spoke to her a few days ago, she said, Trish, the hard thing is that people should have a right. He said the thing is, the people have a right to be able to get the government they voted for, and I do not think that they got the thing. So she said, I would continue this until this has been corrected. So that's that option. Now let's go to the general elections in the United States, but more importantly, I want to touch base on an immigration issue, because all of us at this table are either immigrants or we're children of immigrants. Okay? So in the United States, we have now had, since last season, we've had a change in government, and Donald Trump, whether we like it and not like it, that's not the point here. He's the president of the United States. And there have been some things that have been a little troubling regarding, especially the immigrant population. At first, I think a lot of people had a sense of, well, it's mainly Mexicans or Hispanic people they're going after. And I kept saying, when your neighbor's house is on fire, wet yours. Mm-hmm. When your neighbor's house is on fire, wet yours. Because anything that affects your neighbor is going to creep into your corner eventually. Mm-hmm. And what we see now is a lot of people realizing that it was Mexicans and Muslims, and now we're seeing that it may have implications for other countries as well. So this is really a precarious, really troubling type of situation that we're living in. I look at the fact that I came to this country 37 plus years ago, and I was what would be categorized as an illegal alien. I have a great problem with that word. I'm not an alien. But for the sake of this discussion, so I came in legally, but I stayed on. I later got married, started a family, went to college, got a job, and have been a very productive member of this society. I've never one day, by the grace of God, if I had to, I would, had to file for any kind of assistance. Mm-hmm. I've been blessed that way. And I've been a very productive person in this society. If I came to this country in this kind of climate, I shiver to think what would have happened. And you see people even with green cards being detained because they're coming from a particular country. Now here's the ridiculousness of that. There is no greater vetting that goes on as when somebody applies for a green card. You are vetted. Yes. So it made no sense that people who are already vetted would be put through this sort of thing. And, now you have with law enforcement, regular law enforcement is being put in a position until these police officers, they're just doing their job. They don't even like that they're being put in this kind of position, but they're doing their job, and they're put in a position of being immigration officers, essentially. And that's very troubling to a lot of people. I always say to people, and I speak to a Caribbean audience predominantly, So here's what I should do to the Caribbean, and I've said this before. If you, and maybe it came from me coming here and see what it takes to get myself legitimized, right? And as the years went by, it got harder and harder. If you're in the Caribbean and you have a job, come on vacation, come to study. You don't come here and give up your job and come here to live in this condition. But what you'll find a lot of time is people who don't necessarily have a job or a stability. They just trying to come here and provide for their families. And many of the times, the jobs that they will take, let's be honest, it's not jobs that the average American would do. Okay, even me as an American citizen, I'm not doing that type of job, even if I didn't have a degree. You know what I mean? So there is, the reason that people continue to flock here is because there's a place there that is going to employ them. Okay? Now, I say, if you're seeing what's happening here now, don't even be tempted. Except if you're truly just coming on vacation. But what about the people who are here already? Isn't it better to legitimize them and say, listen, if you're here, you haven't committed crimes. I'll be honest and say this. If you came to the United States and you are here engaged in illegal activities, selling drugs, being in jail, I'm not defending that sort of thing. Because most of us who came here, we came to better ourselves. Or brought our children so they could better themselves. And if you're coming here and put yourself in a situation where you're getting caught up in the system for drugs, for whatever crime, then I'm not defending that. But if you're here, you're working hard, you are paying your taxes, or at least want to pay your taxes, to me, doesn't it make sense to legitimize those people? You know what I mean? To legitimize those people who are law-abiding citizens, hard-working, and have proven that they're here and they're working.
I agree with that. I really do agree with that, because a lot of people, most of the people who they're up for that kind of scrutiny is the people who actually carrying the workforce in this country, and those are
That
the people
nobody
who
wants.
doing the jobs that other people don't want to do. Because a couple of weeks ago, out in Long Island right here, they couldn't get people to work to pick certain fruits that they usually pick around these times. They couldn't get any laborers to do the work that they usually do around this time of the year. And they put it on, it was on Fire Swan, the Channel 1 News Long Island thing, that this summer things are going to go up high. The prices are going up higher and higher because of the lack of labor force in the
Of course,
thing.
if you can't get people to pick them oranges is going to go up because you got to pay somebody from here more.
Right. So they were saying that sometimes you try to spoil the nose to save the face. I don't know how that goes. I can't remember. Right. But that's what's happening now, and a lot of farmers in Long Island are feeling the pinch right now. But then we will feel it in the summer or in the spring when we need that produce.
We have to buy less banana, less grapes, and what have you.
Yes.
So what's your take on that? You as an immigrant, Miss Amalfi? Yes,
My uncle, I don't know if this is accurate, but I have heard that towards Dominican males, they are saying that they're going to detain them once they come back from the Dominican Republic. And my uncle called me and he was very concerned. So I asked him, what are you concerned about? Are you living a good life? Are you going to work every day? Are you a responsible citizen? Has anything changed on your criminal background that I don't know? And he told me, no, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to work. I'm being a responsible citizen. So I told him there's nothing for you to worry
There's
about.
a lot of scaremongering going on on the internet, and some people we got to be able to weed that out
So that's
and we're gonna try to get Owen Claire or Rashida Smith on one time. They're gonna clarify some things for us. We did have a segment with Owen Claire, who's an immigration specialist from Jamaica, and I asked everybody to go to QX TV and look at Soulful Scrutiny episode 11. It was a wonderful episode because he really enlightened us and gave us a lot of fruitful thoughts and things to know and things to do and not do. So we should hope to have him on the show to get like sort of a follow-up at a later stage. But there's a lot of fear mongering going on where people are just putting crazy stories out there.
And that's what he.
And in our fairness to this whole situation, and you need to not get, instead of getting yourself all worked up, look at that episode and you would see that is, get yourself informed, know what exactly is happening, keep up on top of it, but don't start, be concerned, but don't start running in fear, then you're stressing yourself out.
I wouldn't
yeah.
I wouldn't even be concerned, Trish, because it is the way that you lead in your life. If you know that and you have everything in order, there's nothing to be scared of. You cannot create a movie that doesn't match your life. So for my uncle, he's a responsible citizen. He's not doing anything bad. He's going to be okay.
And that might be just some rumor that's going around and
It is.
took on a life of its own.
But
You know?
it is affecting the Dominican community a lot.
But
I hear it from my aunt, I hear it from my uncle, my mother is concerned, and I sat down with her and I said, what is going on? There's nothing really going on. The people that are selling drugs, that are not respecting the laws are going to get in trouble. But we are a good family and that's not going to happen.
I have no kind of fear or anything like that. And so that's why I tell people, don't be panicking just for panic's sake or because somebody put something on the internet. But be concerned, and if you are in certain situations that have to do with, that this might affect, you need to know what some of the things that you need to be careful with. You know, but I said to those who are, if you are somebody who's involved in criminal activity, I think we need to pick our battles like who we're defending. So if you have people who are living here, because America should not be the dumping ground for criminals from other countries. That's I'm from the Caribbean, but I'm saying that we should not be a dumping ground for criminals. So if you come in here to make a better life for yourself, it should be a school, it should be about walking, learning a skill, whatever, and you're in here selling drugs, doing whatever. But let's be honest, most Caribbean immigrants or most immigrants are not doing that. Okay? So if you're not doing that and you're in a situation and you need to find out, is there some ways you can some way that you can legitimize your status, what you should know, and so forth.
But isn't this vetting thing been happening for years? It's just that we know now that it is going on, but it's been going on all along.
Well, they've always vetted you for your green card, but what they're saying is now with this kind of, with they've widened the net, like to put police officers at the local level be able to arrest you based on immigration and check your immigration status. That's frightening. So it definitely has changed. We're not going to sit here and try to act like this.
There will be changes. There's always changes. Changes occur all the time. Once you have life, there's life going on, there will be changes. Some sort or somehow, some way, changes will occur.
But this one is a troubling,
what kind of changes it is and how much it's going to affect you on an everyday level. And people, hardworking people, who are just going about their business, doing the right thing, are being scared, so scared about other negative things that's being put out there, that it's frightening them so much to the point that they don't even want to go to church, and that's not a good thing.
Well, I think that what everyone said is that if you're living your life right, you should not have to be afraid. Continue to do what you do, and if anything, become well informed. As was mentioned by Trish and Amalfi, everybody, be much well informed. Listen to programs that talk about immigration. Trish mentioned the show that had the immigration lawyer. Look at those shows, read about these things so that you will have knowledge and you don't have to live on fear.
Amen to that. I agree. But at the same time that we're telling them to educate themselves and learn more about what's going on out there, and you would still have that inner fear, and that is what's killing a lot of people right now, especially those who are here on green card that expire and stuff like that.
Then go get apply for citizenship.
They just think that it's easier said than done. They just think that, I don't have my green card up to date. I can't go anywhere. I'm afraid to come out my house. I'm afraid to go to work.
Well, that's a different
situation. That's a different situation.
Yeah.
Because that's what most of the fear are coming from right now.
With the Caribbean community, because that's a lot of people, I have friends who have been here 30-something, 40 years, and they never
do anything, and that's crazy
No, you
too.
also have that portion of the population. Let me straighten this one out. That they came here very young. They might have got into a little infraction. Not that they killed anybody or robbed anybody, but they got into a little something when they were younger, so they have something on their record. But they had a green card at one point, and that population is very scared. What I also do resent is that this whole
That's what I'm
this
talking
whole
about.
attitude you're getting, like if like this criminal behavior, criminal gangs are so prevalent among immigrants, and that's a small that is not the majority of immigrants are not doing stuff like that. And there are those that might have made a mistake when they're younger, have straightened their lives out, have gone to school, gotten a job, have families now, and because they might have done something at one point, no, that section, that group, I think is what one of the group you're referring to.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
scared. They're scared because even
they're
they go
naturally
to
scared.
citizenship. And so that's
It will
why
come up.
Owen Clare in that interview, Soul for Scrutiny and QXTV episode 11, he was saying that as well. That stop running a fair, what you have to do is start to look at, he said, first of all, if you have if you have a situation like I just described, don't try to do it without getting a lawyer.
Yeah.
He works with an attorney.
Yeah.
I know that
And a
my daughter is also
reputable
an
lawyer.
immigration attorney. I know several people are immigration attorneys. And so you get, but it doesn't have to be them. You go to find somebody. Find an immigration attorney other people have had good response from and who are honest. Because you have some of them would take all their money up front and do nothing for you.
Yeah.
And watch you get deported. So you need somebody that has a good and honest track record, and you need to go to that person and try to put in for your citizenship. It takes 6 months at the average citizenship application. But if you have an infraction or something, that may not be as straightforward. It doesn't mean it can't be done, but you might have to go. You should get some kind of legal advice and do it.
But
do
the
it
cost
manually.
of citizenship is so high
I know.
too.
Yeah.
Not everybody can find that money, over $1,000
A
to
lot of
go
people
do
don't
your
have it.
citizenship.
Mhm.
A lot of people
And the
don't.
other thing is, if you listen to the TV, there are some people who just listen to the TV all day. The media does make you.
They do a job on you.
I mean, it's like
Sensational.
Yeah,
Sensationalism.
and it, because I know people who don't even want to turn on the TV now. Not that they're doing anything, but because they're in a situation and don't know where to turn. So you turn on the TV and you hear this is happening, that is happening, and it's very hard on people. So
I
it's
gotta
a
be
lot.
honest. I'm in that bunch. Like a lot of times I turn on the TV, but I'm
Yeah.
very limited to what I don't watch the political channels.
No.
And if that's coming from me, who owns a television network, imagine other people. It's a really stressful time, and you even have that the schools with little kids are coming home stressed out because of things that teachers say to them, and they're crying, and you have no business putting children in that sort of thing. These kids let them have their innocence. They don't need to be dealing with
They
that.
don't
Let
need
us
to be-
they don't need, stop scaring the little kids. I don't know with our lives, but
But it's the times we live
in
in.
the times we live in, you
I
just
think
got to
it's the
change with the
times,
times and
I mean,
adjust.
there are big changes. It's hard to change,
Mhm.
just drastically, but there are changes, lots of big changes, and it's going to get worse.
Yeah, it's sunny.
Yeah, it
Well,
will get worse before it get better, but I
Yeah.
know it's gonna get better.
but hopefully there's a light at the end of the tunnel,
There will
and
be
there
a
will be
light.
some good that comes out of this. And again, don't run unfair. Get the knowledge you need. Make sure the information you're getting is appropriate and not just fear mongering from people who just delight in scaring people. It's
But I
scary
do-
enough what we do know. You don't need to be adding elements to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
But
Yeah.
but be concerned and do go about things the right to find out what your options are
yeah.
and do what you need to do so that you're out of that situation. Like I travel wherever. I don't have any criminal record. I'm a citizen of the United States. I'm law abiding. So like you were saying with your uncle, I'm not gonna let nobody scare me with that nonsense. You know what I mean? But let's say with your uncle, he needs to apply for
He
citizenship.
needs to.
Yeah,
Yes,
don't
he
put
does.
him- why you
And
need
that's
to deal
something
with a
that
green card?
I have been telling him for many years to do, and because he doesn't want to put in the work and the money, he hasn't done
You
it.
need to put
Now this is a motivation for him to maybe do it.
Mhm.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I think out of that, a lot of people who lived here and just took it for granted. I have a lot of people who said, I don't really need to vote. I don't need to have a citizenship.
Yeah,
And I
I've
said,
heard that.
Wrong.
yeah, I'm like, that is so wrong. Why you want to live in a place for all these years?
There's a woman coming in from Jamaica last 2 weeks, and she always comes and visits her family, and her daughters are here, and always coming. When she got to Texas, I think it's Texas, they turned her back. She said she can't come in, with no explanation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not fake news. That's
How many
real
years
news.
she was here?
She doesn't live here. She lives in Jamaica, but she's visiting. She comes up maybe once or twice a year to visit her family. And this last time they told her she couldn't come in without any explanation.
And this is Jamaica.
And this is from Jamaica. So, I can understand, some of it is fake news.
Mm-hmm.
You have to protect yourself by going to find out what is going on.
But
And
everybody
to the
has to
right
But that's
place.
scary when you know something.
That's
like
what
that.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
so you don't know why. Nobody knows why she was sent back. She probably has to go to a lawyer to find that out.
But
They don't have a reason to
yeah,
send
the
her back,
reason she
you
is
know?
visitor. They don't have to have a reason. You don't have a
That's
reason.
what I'm saying.
I didn't
So-
give you permission to live here. I could take that visa away, but is
so
it right?
I know
you
that there's fear mongering and whatever is
Mm.
going on, but people just need to know because it's frustrating. I mean, if you have a family member who is in that position,
Well, I think Alwyn Clare breaks it down
He does.
expertly when
He
he
does.
explained the different strategies and who can sponsor who and who can. I think you'll find that interview very, very helpful.
yeah.
And it's good food for thought and good information that would help you rather than making you panic. You can't help but be a little uncomfortable, a little nervous if you have somebody who's in that situation or you yourself in any of those situations. But be informed. Try to listen. Don't listen to the fear-mongering stuff online because online is just anybody just spit out anything they want to say.
Yeah.
What you want to do is listen
Because
to.
we hear things, we make up little rumors, and
And the rumor grows
and it grows and
yeah, so you
Yeah.
need to listen to reputable news.
Right.
The same thing if you are hiring an attorney, you have to make sure that you go to a good attorney that is not going to take your money or make promises that he or she won't be able to deliver.
Yeah, my daughter went to this church, and that's what a lot of churches are starting to do, and speak to people. Herself and a couple of
Good.
attorneys.
Yeah.
And I know Owen Clare, he's been doing that as well. And one of the things, you have to make sure that you have attorneys that are reputable. I can't say that enough. My daughter is a person, and I'm not just saying that because she's my child. If you come to her and she does not see a way that she can help you, she will not take your money. She will tell you that. Even if the person sometimes wants to move forward and just take a chance, she said, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to take your money because I don't see a way. But there are times when something changes, and she'll call that person and say, how are things going for you? There was a new change. Come back and let's talk. But not to just take your money. Because some of these people are, and she walks like payment plans out for people. So that you're not trying to come up with all that money out of, I was instilling her. I came here as a visitor and overstayed. And I was in that situation. And I don't know if that's where her softness come from for that. But she would walk with these folks and take a payment plan, give me a little bit at a time. She would, be the person would call them up and say, you have to come in and you got to mail this. She is really diligent in how she operate as an attorney, not to, just grab people's money. Charge them an arm and a leg, get all the money up front and do nothing but watch them get deported. But
So Trish, why don't you, before we wrap this up, why don't you mention again which show featured Owen and what it's about?
Owen.
Yes,
Okay, so if you
Owen.
go to QXTV, episode Soulful Scrutiny. So you go to QXTV and click on Soulful Scrutiny and go to episode 11. My interview with Owen Clare, and it's an enormous amount of information. I mean, we need to be able to like preserve his brain. He really have a lot. He's been doing this a long time, and he gives a lot. We're trying to get him back in. We're gonna have him on this show with us for one of the episodes. But he really good show. Really good show. Lots of information that I really didn't know. One of these days I'm gonna try to get Rashida Smith to muster up enough. She doesn't like the camera, my daughter, so she doesn't like to come in front of the camera. But I was telling her right now, you're in an area, you're practicing in an area that information is needed. You need to get out there.
Maybe you can get them two together.
Yeah.
Both together.
Well, when he was here, apparently he knows St. Vincent back of his hand, and he was showing off on us and telling us, about Bookament and King Gardner. We're like, you Jamaica, right? He's like, yeah. I said, well, you had a girlfriend? You were going there? So we had a good little laugh, my daughter, him, and I kept saying that, it'd be good to put those two together. And my brother's also an immigration attorney.
Okay.
So it'd be good to have these guys together. But I tell you the truth, Owen knows this stuff as good or better than any attorney. Because we have to understand, he's not coming from a point of trying to make money on anybody. This is something he's done to be able to do the service to his community. And, he knows the ins and outs of it.
He's
So
making
we
money.
know that this is going. This is a topic. It's not going to end here. So it's something that we will continue to follow
To
up
follow
on.
up on, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
This brings us to the end of Caribbean House Talk, this episode of Caribbean House Talk. So join us again for the next edition of Caribbean House Talk. And if you have suggestions for us, you can write to us at QXTV1@gmail.com. That's CUEXTV1@gmail.com. You can see the email address on the screen below. And we'll be happy to, if we find that your suggestions or your information important or interesting, we'll be happy to use it on the show. If you have suggestions for us, but you don't want your name to be called, we certainly wouldn't do that. We'll just bring up the information and hopefully you watch and you can get what you need to get from it. It might be something you're struggling with that you want other people's take on. So we try to uplift people. We try to be that source of support in some way or another. We are just like you out there. We are not celebrities. We are not famous. We are everyday people that struggle with some of the very things you might be struggling with, or people you know might be struggling with. And because we are part of a regular society, we have that inside look at the struggles that exist in everyday life and the things that are happening in everyday lives. So, thank you for joining us. So long.
Thank you.
Yeah.